Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of the Unreasonable Odds podcast. I'm Steve Buchanan with my co-host Julian Edlow as we look to wrap up week 3 and do a little look ahead to week 4, give some plays from Monday Night Football. Johnny Avello, as he always does for our highly rated segment, Odds Are, Director of Race and Sportsbook Operations, will join Julian later in the show to talk about week 4 as well. But let's get right into a little bit of a week 3 wrap with our new favorite segment, Cash It or Trash It, going over some of our bets from last week. Have to start off with Julian. Have to go there right off the bat. The man, he absolutely, he's always conservative. He's always a coward. He always is like, never add another leg, never add another leg. He added like 5 legs last week for this monster teaser. Carolina, Arizona, Buffalo, Cleveland, Baltimore. If you tease those when Julian told you so, you're getting all those teams at -2 or better, which you absolutely needed, by the way, for a
Importantly, none of that mattered. 4 of the teams covered outright. What mattered is getting Baltimore at 1.5, which we did when we gave it out here, when I gave it out in my when I wrote it up in my article. Cash It, 5-leg teaser, +400. Baltimore -1.5. Baltimore wins by 2, 66 yards. Mr. Justin Tucker off the crossbar and over into the net. It was the last leg. Obviously, we got the Thursday night leg there. And then Cardinals scared us. Dumb play. Speaking of long field goals, 68 yards. Dumb play. But they come back. The Jags melt down, pick 6, Cards start driving, scoring points. Works out.
Okay, wait a second. What was the catalyst for the Cardinals comeback? I'm waiting.
I mean, they went downfield and scored a touchdown. They got a pick 6.
No. Steve Buchanan tweeted out the Cardinals can't do this, and then in a span of 10 minutes, they scored 14 points. Just throwing that out.
That's true.
But go ahead, continue.
Thank you for that. I know you needed that as well.
Good Lord, did I need that?
Yeah, so 4 of the 5 teams covered outright. The Browns-Bears was one of the most lopsided, just look at the box score matchups that you'll ever see.
Yeah.
I don't know how the Browns didn't win that by 40.
And it's funny, too, because, like, when I remember talking about this, those were the 2 games I specifically said, I don't know about those ones. And those were the easiest ones out of the entire group.
Yep. So, yeah, everything had cashed. And the last leg was the Ravens, and they were going to blow it. Hollywood Brown drops 3 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson throws an interception on the game, on what would have been the go-ahead game-winning drive. Detroit pounds it down, kicks the game-winning field goal, gets the Ravens started their drive with a sack with 37 seconds left or something.
Yep.
Got into a 4th and 19, I think it was. And they
4th and 20.
Watkins, but he can't even get out of bounds.
Yep.
The teaser ending on needing that Tucker 66-yarder, NFL record 66-yarder, and watching it hit the crossbar and bounce over. One of the greatest sweats of all time. Cash the +400. Taking a little bit too long on this one, but it's +400, and it was a heck of a sweat.
Yeah.
One of the better cash-its of the season, I'll go out and say.
I was just going to say, in recent memory, was that one of the best covers you've seen?
That was one of. I know we ask people on Know You Better for their favorite wins. This is now one in my top 5 favorite wins of my.
Yeah, has to be. Yeah, I mean that was, and especially too on that final drive. Like the Lions' pass rush was unbelievable. Like it didn't even look like the same team. Like they were just on Lamar Jackson, like immediately. Jackson, who can elude almost anybody, had nowhere to go. It was they were just blitzing the hell out of him. It was unbelievable. And they were on him, and it was just like the Ravens are going to blow this. And on a day where, the Chiefs, blew that game too as well. It's incredible that Baltimore covered. It's incredible that we got them at the right number, because my favorite teaser last week was Arizona getting them down to -1 and Baltimore getting them at -1.5. Cleared it.
It's crazy that that's what it came down to, that it actually came down to the hook and how they got the hook.
Unbelievable.
One of the most wild teaser covers you'll ever see. And it was such a big teaser week. So many people had it. And I also, so it wasn't just the plus 400. I gave out on the sweat Sunday morning, since the Thursday night leg of my best bet had passed. We cashed the best bet, the Arizona, Carolina. Sunday, we got to hit the reset button, give out a play. I gave out Arizona and Baltimore minus 1.5 each, which got there. I wrote up in my best bets article, Buffalo -1, Baltimore -1.5.
Yeah.
That one gets there on the Baltimore. It was a huge piece of my week. I owe Justin Tucker a beer.
Yeah, I mean, every teaser that I had included Baltimore, because that's between Baltimore and Arizona. Those are the two ones I felt the most confident about, with the Broncos a close third. Though that was the game.
Not to mention Lions under 5 wins, plus 110 for me, 0-3.
Yep.
Lions to start 0-4, plus 175. Keep that ticket alive. Might have to do some hedging this week, even though they're on the road. 3-point dogs against the Bears, after the Bears had one of the worst offensive showings of the modern era.
Right. Yeah. Which is incredible. Justin Fields, a lot of hype. Didn't live up to it, but we can talk about that later.
All right. Go ahead and cash it for us, Steve Buchanan.
Yeah. So, I mean, literally cash our favorite plays here. Your teaser there. I gave the Arizona Baltimore teaser. Then I also gave, which I was very high on, Arizona -7.5 against Jacksonville. At one point, it also touched 8. Didn't really matter. That was another one where I'm watching this game. And when Jacksonville went up almost 2 scores, I said, this cannot be happening, because I expected just a blowout from start to finish. The Cardinals got that quick score. I said, okay, business as usual. I was barely even paying attention to that game, because I watch Red Zone. I love watching Red Zone. Like, for daily fantasy betting purposes, Red Zone is just the best. And they weren't really looking at that game much. But then when they missed that, stupid field goal, and they came back, was it 106 yards total?
109. 109.
109
Match is the longest play. You cannot have a longer play.
The whole momentum and feel of that game shifted dramatically, because that's such a I never understood I didn't understand the call to begin with. I don't think anybody did, because it's like, do you really need points this desperately against Jacksonville? Like, you'll get them, and that just shifted everything. So I had a little bit of a panic, and then followed up with Baltimore like an hour later. Those are the fun Sundays, though. Like, those are like, it's great when you win, but it's great with the sweat and then the win. It's so much more rewarding. That was a really good Sunday.
It was a good Sunday. It was a great Sunday. Cannot complain. All right. But we do have to trash something. And I did have one kind of gross. It's not even, I don't want to call it a bad beat. It's not a bad beat, but just a game that turned completely misfortune for the second half. We cashed the Patriots Saints under. Jonnu Smith almost gave it away, literally handed it away, handing 7 points away. But we got there.
Yep.
I played Minnesota and Seattle over 55.
Brutal.
We were at 34 at halftime.
Yeah.
So we needed 21 to ensure the push in the second half. No touchdowns in the game. No more. Minnesota,
Incredible.
3 field goals. Seattle, shutout. Second half in Minnesota against an awful defense. Can't get it to Lockett. Can't get it to Metcalf. Can't get into the end zone on any of those. That was a rough loss. Trash it. I could easily brush it off, because I think I made, whatever I put it on Twitter, 9.85 units, plus 9.85 units in the 1 p.m. window. So I could laugh that one off. A normal Sunday, not so funny. That was pretty gross.
Yeah, I'll trash the early look teaser that I put out there as well. Getting the Bucs when they were underdogs to plus 7.5 to go with the Cardinals at -1. Felt great about that, because when are you going to get the Buccaneers as more than a touchdown underdog?
Not this week.
Not anymore. Not anymore. But I felt really good about that one. I thought they would be able to hang with the Rams, and the Rams look like the team, at least as of so far. Just really put it to the Bucs last night.
That's going to be the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, absolutely. So I felt good about that going into the evening, because obviously Cardinals -1 and ended up being no problem. But really, Never felt great about the Bucs really from the opening kickoff. After it started, the Rams were just on them. And that wild stat that they showed, I think it's now 40-0. The Rams are under Sean McVay when leading at halftime. Like that is absolutely absurd. That is absurd when you think about how long McVay's been there for a few years now, and some of the crap teams that he's had. But when they lead at halftime, it's over. It's been curtain for the other team. So we'll trash that one. Felt really good about that, getting that early line, especially once the favorites switched, but wasn't enough.
All right, let's move on to a quick Monday Night Football preview. We got the Eagles at the Cowboys.
Excited about this one.
A little NFC least matchup for us here. Cowboys 3.5-point favorites. It did get down to 3 at one point. 3.5, laying the -105. Total sitting at 51.5. A lot of over money here. A lot of Cowboys money here. No surprise. I don't have many takes, and I do have to write a Monday Night Football best bets article. But I didn't have many takes on Thursday, and I just said use Carolina as the teaser leg. And then the props I did write up wound up going 2-0. You want to know the two props I did write up? It's kind of funny for Thursday Night Football. Did you see my article?
I have not.
Okay. So I wrote up Chuba Hubbard over 14.5 rushing yards. I said if this one turns into a blowout, he got 8 carries the week before for 10 yards. I was like, if he gets 8 carries, I mean, this is over. This is a guy that had a 2,000-yard season at Oklahoma State. And then I ended it with, running back is a physical position. Injuries always happen. I jinxed it. CMC went down. Hubbard got there. And then I did the alternate spread. Carolina -13.5 plus money. Looked shaky. Won by 15 and got there. I don't know about this Monday night game. I have some Cowboys -3. I'll say that. I scooped some Cowboys at -3, which I'm comfortable with. It's one of those situations where I have the Cowboys under 9.5 wins. I think they should be 0-2. They're 1-1, but I think this is one they get. So I'm not gonna let futures get in the way of a good bet. The Eagles are gonna have some trouble keeping up here, I think.
I like teasing this game with the spread and the total.
Eagles up, I assume, right? Because you can't go through 0.
Right. So you grab the Eagles at 9.5 and then tease the over to 45.5. Gives you -120.
Not a bad teaser.
It's not a bad teaser because I like the over 51.5. So why wouldn't I like the over 45.5? We know obviously what Dak Prescott can do now. Philly defensively has been pretty good. Probably better than advertised.
Yeah.
But between Hurts with how well that he's been throwing, Dak, because you just got too many bodies you have to cover in that offense, I like the over 51.5. So I'm just going to tease both pieces. And you get -120. So you get Eagles at 9.5, which I think they should be able to cover. And over 45.5. I think that's the play here. If I had to choose a side, I'd probably side with Dallas at -3.5, but I'm not really overly interested in grabbing that. So I'm just going to take the teaser in this one and take the -120.
Okay. I don't hate that.
This is a good prop game though. This is a good prop game.
Okay. So that's what I want to get into because I don't have that many props yet. I feel like it's a lot of good. It feels like in theory, you should have a lot of good overs on player props. I'm just not sure yet. I'm not sure yet what they are. Like, I don't see Lamb over 6.5 receptions jumps out to me.
That's exactly where I was going. CeeDee Lamb over 6.5 receptions. The volume has just been going towards him. Dak Prescott.
Plus money too.
Yeah, at +105. That's what really caught my attention there. If it was at -110, I'd probably gloss over it. But if you're getting plus money on that, I'm absolutely going to take that matchup there. I like the matchup for him in this game. The Eagles secondary has been better than I expected so far. But when I'm looking at the individual matchups in this one, CeeDee Lamb should see a decent amount of, hold on, I'm just pulling it up here real quick. He's going to see a good amount. I just lost it again. Okay, here we go. Against Darius Slay. That's the one I was looking at there. So like that matchup against Darius Slay, who's been extremely boomer bust really since coming from the Lions. I think that's going to be a good matchup for him in coverage so far this season. Slay has been kind of a hit or miss. I mean, quite frankly, the Eagles have had a pretty tough schedule, I would say, so far. Going against the 49ers, against the Falcons team that's just going to continue to throw. But Slay's been targeted 11 times already. He's allowed 6 receptions for an average of 23 yards. So I think that's a pretty good matchup for him.
All right, I'm with you there. I think Tony Pollard props are interesting because he's kind of playing better than Zeke. But Zeke is somebody the Cowboys aren't going to, I don't want to say give up on, but like even split carries, definitely not make the backup, but like even split carries, I feel like they wouldn't do that. But Pollard's playing better. I don't know exactly what to do about that. I don't hate like a Tony Pollard sprinkle first touchdown score plus 1100. His props are set at 34.5 rushing yards. He went for over 100 on 13 carries last week.
Yeah.
7.5 attempts. I kind of want to play some Tony Pollard overs, but they didn't use him much week 1. So maybe the week 2 numbers are just inflated, but it's not like he came in a blowout. That was a game-winning field goal against the Chargers. So he legitimately had that role within a close game the entire way.
I really think they like Pollard. I mean, they're not going to get away from Zeke, but Pollard's just in there too much for someone that's an RB2. I mean, granted, Zeke's played counts. Now. I got it right here. Zeke's played at least 71% of the snaps in both weeks, but Pollard went from 24% in week 1 against the Buccaneers, who you're really not going to be running against anyways, and then 35% last week against the Chargers. So, I mean, he's there. If he's going to be playing on 30+% of the snaps, I have no problem taking some of his props.
That's interesting because he's from a flat perspective, from the just the snaps, like he took 20 week 1 and then 21 week 2, so it doesn't look like much. But the percentage, there were so many plays in that Bucks game. Zeke played. So
what if I told you this? Amongst all players in week 2, Pollard took 29.6% of the total touches. That was only behind Zeke at 33.3.
Right. At running back, you kind of have to.
Yeah. But if I told you that Pollard took almost 30% of the touches last week, that probably catch your attention.
It does. That's why he has my attention.
Yeah.
70 snaps for Zeke week 1, 44 week 2. So 44 to 21 in week 2. I'm going to get something on Pollard, whether it's over in rushing yards, over in attempts. I believe his receptions is set at 2.5, and he's hit the over on that both games. Let me make sure I'm right.
Yep.
It's 2.5.
Yep.
Yeah. It's juiced to the minus 130. People are betting it. But yeah, he has 7 targets on the year. He's caught all 7 of them for 60 yards. 3 last week, 4 in week 1.
Anytime touchdown for Pollard is only at 150. I don't think that's enough.
No, I don't want to play the anytime touchdown.
Yeah, I expected something a little bit better than that, but my plus 150, that's not enough.
Right.
I'm surprised it's that low.
It's going to be a volume play for me because he's getting a lot of snaps. So the way that you capitalize on the volume is over 2.5 receptions, over 7.5 rushing attempts. So those are the 2, I guess, that are jumping out to me.
Well, it sounds like you got some good stuff for your article.
Thanks. I hope so.
Which, by the way,
we've won 5 consecutive primetime game props. So we got a lot on the line here on Monday Night Football.
DraftKings.com/playbook. That's where you can read this article. Which you probably should. At least it sounds like it.
Anything else on Monday Night Football, Steve?
Nope. I think we should hear from good old Johnny Avello.
All right, let's hear from Johnny Avello in Odds Are with Johnny Avello. All right, everybody, it is an unreasonable odds Monday here at DraftKings, which means only one thing. Odds Are with Johnny Avello, the director of race and sportsbook operations here at DraftKings Sportsbook. Johnny, welcome into Unreasonable Odds. Happy Monday.
Thank you, Julian. Glad to be here again.
All right. So before we get into week 3, before we get into week 4, actually, a little bit of breaking news on the Unreasonable Odds podcast. One Mr. Johnny Avello will be inducted into the 2021 Sports Betting Hall of Fame. So number 1, congratulations. Number 2, I'm sure this takes a lot of time in the sportsbook industry to get here. What does it take to get into the Sportsbook Hall of Fame, Johnny?
I have no idea, Julian. I'm just honored that I was selected to be one of the participants. So, yeah, it's truly a great honor. Working in the industry all these years, time's gone by rather quickly, and I've just enjoyed every minute of it. Who thinks about making it to a Hall of Fame? But I'm very excited that I was selected.
I mean, clearly not a coincidence that it comes out right around the time that you start doing the Unreasonable Odds podcast. I think that there's some kind of correlation there. So let's get into week 3 here, looking back on it. Huge week, I would assume, for teasers at the book. I thought this was a huge teaser week. I didn't want to play a single individual spread or side. I pieced together a lot of different 2-team 6-point teasers that came through. And this is out of character for me. Once, maybe twice a year, I'll say, you know what? I like all these legs. And I made the Carolina, Denver, Buffalo, Cleveland, Arizona, or sorry, not Denver, the Buffalo, Cleveland, Arizona, Carolina, and Baltimore teaser for plus 400. All of them covered on their own, except for Baltimore, which was that last leg. Historic Justin Tucker kick, bounces over the crossbar and gets there for everybody that had either Baltimore on the money line parlay or at the 1.5 in their teaser. Condolences if you had them at 2. How did the book do with money line parlays and teasers this week? And what did Justin Tucker's kick specifically mean for sportsbooks?
Well, I agree with you, Julian, on the fact that it was a good teaser week. Kind of saw that, when I looked at the slate early in the week. And how'd we do? Well, not very well, as you mentioned. All those teams got there. The only exception which saved us a little bit of money was the Chiefs, which you didn't mention, who we know lost outright. We actually did pretty well to that game overall, the Ravens game. They didn't cover, which was a good outcome for the house. We had a fair amount of Lions money to win straight up, but I knew that the Ravens was going to be the connection that put all the dots together later in the day.
That was, just as a sports bettor, watching that one from 66 yards bounce over the crossbar with all the other results, unless you had Denver as a part of yours, already taken care of in the 1 p.m. window. That is what sweats are about right there.
And remember, it did go back to Thursday night too. You mentioned Carolina was the start of the whole puzzle.
Yeah, that kept things kind of connecting through the weekend. So you mentioned Kansas City there, who I have down as our second question. I did not include them in my teaser, which I was happy with, but I know a lot of people, you see Kansas City there at home sitting at 6.5. Your brain immediately goes teaser. You just need them outright. But you look at Kansas City, they're 1-2. They're 0-3 against the spread this season. Last place in the AFC West. I think they're 1-11 against the spread in their last 12 regular season games. So, number one, what does this mean for setting the number on Kansas City moving forward? Because they have not been covering spreads. They've generally been winning, even though they lost 2 in a row outright, but they are not covering spreads. And then number 2, I don't think anybody thought we would see the Chiefs just dead last in the division this early in the season. What does this mean for them in terms of futures, division, AFC, that type of stuff?
Well, the power rating has dropped slightly now, but heading into this past weekend's game at home versus the Chargers, that didn't alter the bettors' confidence that they couldn't cover the full TD because they did bet them. We believe they will still be heavily bet until they show a complete collapse. How about still the favorite? You ask how they're doing in their own division. Still the favorite at even money, followed by the Broncos at 3-1, Chargers at 7-2, and our Las Vegas Raiders at 11-2. Remember, the Chargers-Chiefs game was the only AFC West Division game played this year so far. We've got a ways to go, Julian.
Yeah, those division games are where it's going to be made up. But it is interesting. Like those Chargers sitting there at 2-1. You've got, the Raiders and Broncos are The undefeated Raiders are plus 550, last fourth in the odds to win that division. But yeah, Chiefs at even money this early, a bit unexpected, we could say. So last week, a couple of home dogs we talked about that wound up coming through for the books. The public loved the slight road favorites in Seattle at Minnesota and Tampa at LA at the Rams. The Vikings, you said it, they were a good 0-2. They came through, they got their first win of the year at home. The Rams remain undefeated, gave Tom Brady and the Bucs their first loss of the season. What were bettors missing in those games? I guess it was about, I think, only 25% or so of the money on the Vikings, about a third of the money on the Rams when it came to the spread. What do you think is the biggest piece that bettors are missing there in those home dogs that the book got both of those? And are there any home dogs that you think are in that position this week?
Well, we ended up closing Seattle 1.5, and we actually did very well on that game. Mm-hmm. They talk about this Seattle team having the 12th man when playing at home. Well, I think that 12th man also exists when it comes to wagering on Seattle, because they've become a public team. Yep. They won or finished second in that NFC for many, many years, that NFC West. And, when they're a short price, they're just a viable choice. The public's all over them. Now, the Vikings are playing at home versus the Browns this week. You asked about, is there anything similar to last week?
Yeah.
The Browns opened 2.5, and now they're down to 1. I'm not sure, though, the Vikes deserve favoritism in here because they don't match up as well with the Browns as they did with the Seahawks. And when I look at the rest of the home teams this week, dogs, I don't see anything else that really jumps out. I mean, the Jets look hopeless.
Right.
The Eagles get a tough Monday night football matchup and then a short week and then have to play the Chiefs. The Pats are at home playing the Bucs, and that's a good storyline, but we certainly have the right favorite with Tampa in that one.
We will be touching on that one. That's the grand finale. And obviously, Steve Buchanan and I, the co-hosts of this podcast, both based in Boston, both grew up Patriots fans. This is going to be a talking point all throughout the week that I'm very interested in. And really quickly, you mentioned the Eagles being that home favorite here against the Chiefs on the short week. And we just talked about the Chiefs. I don't mind. I think if there's a bounce back week for the Chiefs, it might be here, laying the points with them. Obviously, Andy Reid's got some stuff going on, but this might be the week to get back on the Chiefs, in my opinion. We'll see what the splits look like there at DK Sportsbook. So let's talk Monday night real quick. The last numbers from DK Sportsbook that I was able to see, we were looking at roughly a 70-30 split on the spread in favor of Dallas in terms of the handle. The money line a little closer to 50-50, but still favoring Dallas there. Some money coming in on the over, it looks like, which has been very good in Dallas recently. Those overs hitting at Jerry World. What do you think in terms of movement? Anything on the total or side for Monday Night Football here?
Well, it's a little early, and I think there's a lot more money to come in. So, we have a small sample size right now, but we're a little heavy on Dallas. Laying the 3.5, but I would presume that the Eagles are going to get a money line surge at plus 160, and that's going to happen during the course of the day. The total for sure will be bet over and then over again. We're holding at the 51, which is a key number when it comes to totals, but I expect we're going to be at least 51.5, possibly 52 by kickoff.
Wow. All right. So the over money's coming in on Monday Night Football. All right, week 4, and I want to, because we're going to close with New England and Tampa, so you can exclude that game from your answer here because we're going to touch on that. Week 4, where have you seen the most early money going? Because I know it's Tampa, so we'll leave them out. And which spreads do you expect to move the most by kickoff on Sunday for week 4?
Early money, Thursday night football game. The Bengals were pushed from 4.5 to 6 over the 0-3 Jags. So that's a reasonable move there and understandable. The Lions getting some betting attention on the road at Chicago. This line dropped from the Bears -5 down to 3. And some of the largest spreads that you might see move during the course of the week. And this is a key move. The Packers are sitting at 6.5 at home over the Steelers. They have some problems right now, Julian. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger banged up in all different areas. Just no.
He looked awful against Cincy.
Yeah, so this game could go to 7.5 possibly. It's at 6.5 now, and the Titans at the Jets. That could be another. Titans opened at -7. This thing could reach 8, possibly 8.5.
So the game we're going to talk about next, Tampa, is going to be a very popular teaser leg with, I would say, the Packers, Titans. Those are the two I think that are going to link up with them the most. But let's go to Sunday Night Football in Foxborough. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, head to head. I can't wait to watch because Belichick is going to be, and both coming off a loss, by the way. Angry Brady, angry Belichick. Belichick is going to, I'm trying to give myself worst case scenario. Like Belichick is going to scheme up the ultimate defense to slow down Tom Brady. And I still can't get there. I don't know. It is the most square, probably the most public play of the season is backing Tampa here. The Patriots, do you think here, I'm going off script now. Do you think the Patriots are going to be the book's biggest need of the regular season potentially?
I don't know. It's a tough call if they're actually going to be, one of our bigger decisions. I could see this game getting bet both ways. So I'm not positive on that yet.
Okay. So put it this way. The handle on this one is going to be massive. Over the summer, the look ahead here was Tampa -3 on DraftKings Sportsbooks. That was the best number that you could get on Tampa in the industry. This past week, the look ahead was 5.5. Now it reopened 5.5 with both teams coming off a loss. The Patriots probably looking worse in their loss. DraftKings Sportsbook reopened it. You guys opened it at 5.5, ticked up to 6. As we're recording this, I'm seeing 6.5. So the public is hammering the Bucs here. Do you think it gets to 7?
Well, things have changed a lot over the summer, Julian. First of all,
yes,
the heat's gone and the fall's here. That's number one. So, summer's gone. Tampa has performed up to expectations, and the Pats they have not. I don't believe this gets to 7, but 6.5 is a very good possibility. I think that if it does hit 7, the Sharps will take it back. They've already laid the 5.5. They'll look for an arbitrage position here. The Brady and Gronk combination is certainly going to be well looked at this weekend. So I know that's something that fans watching the game and fans betting the game will certainly be on board with.
Yeah, so that my next question was going to be about where the sharp buyback is. I was going to guess 7. Sounds like 7 would be it if it does wind up getting there. And then the Brady and Gronk props, probably some of the biggest handle that we'll see on any player props on DraftKings Sportsbook this season. I would imagine. It sounds like you agree with that.
I do. Those props should do really well. But this brings up a question to me. You being a Boston guy and feeling this team for so many years, who will the home fans be rooting for? The Pats or Brady or Gronk?
So there are a lot of split fans here. I will say, listening to local sports talk radio, which is why I'm so fascinated by this game. I am ecstatic for it. I cannot wait. So there are fans that are probably more side with Brady. I don't know if that necessarily means they will root for the Bucs in this game, because this is a really important game for the Patriots if they're going to have any chance in the AFC East. They need this game. And what it comes down to for me, there's also fans that I wouldn't say hate Tom Brady, but they'll side with the Patriots and root for them in this game. What it comes down to for me in this game, and why I'm going to be on Tampa, regardless of all the money piling in, is I don't see, unless Belichick has the defensive game of his life, I don't see how this game stays anywhere near even, because Tampa has the offense to throttle anybody, and New England's defense hasn't been anything special. New England wants to try and win games by playing defense and running the ball and keeping it tight. Tampa might have the best run defense in the league. You got to beat them by going downfield on that secondary, which is something they don't let Mac Jones do, nor does he have the weapons to do that with. So I can't figure out how the Patriots keep this one within a touchdown. But this is why it's betting.
Yeah, well, remember that Tom Brady came in and took over for Drew Bledsoe. So, is this time for Mac Jones to show some Brady skills? I don't know, but Mac Jones should be a little pumped up for the game too. So I agree with you. I think it's an intriguing matchup. I'm also really looking forward to it.
I'll part with you on this stat. Tom Brady won his first Super Bowl when I was in middle school. I turn 34 next month. I'm married with a kid, and he still might win the Super Bowl this year. There's your stat of the day, Johnny.
Okay, that covers quite a bit of time there.
That does cover quite a bit of time. Johnny Avello, the director of Race and Sportsbook Operations, soon to be a sports betting Hall of Famer. Thank you, as always, for joining us on Monday on the Unreasonable Odds podcast here at DraftKings.
My pleasure. Thank you much.
All right, we always appreciate the insight from soon-to-be sports betting Hall of Famer, Johnny Avello. Johnny, I will see you in the Sports Betting Hall of Fame one day. Wait for me. All right. Let's preview this week 4 board, Steve, with our early look. Obviously, lines just popped up on Monday morning. It's early Monday afternoon. These are kind of our leans. I will say we've both kind of been going with these leans. We've been right. We've been taking our Monday leans, making them our best bets on Thursday, and cashing them. So we've been doing well with this. But I know you want to start with, and I saw this one on Sunday, the largest spread of the season. Houston getting 17 at Buffalo. I don't you want to talk about this. I don't know what surprises you. This is just what it is. I'm not betting it. I have nothing to do with it. It's too big to tease. Go ahead and huh?
Is it? You don't want to tease Houston?
Tease. I was
plus 23.
Tease Houston up to 23. It's an absolute lock.
I don't know. Is Houston this bad? They're bad. I will say they're not good. But are they, almost 3 score bad? I mean, I don't know. This I was just surprised. So a week ago, Buffalo was minus 14 favorites, and it's just been sliding since. So now you have them at plus 17 for the Texans here. I don't know. I kind of want to put it in a few teasers because you get them up to plus 23. That just seems that. What are you doing?
Well, there's somebody I have an office with windows, unlike you, in a cement basement, and the people across the street are mowing their lawn, and I had the windows open because it's a nice day. So I closed it as to not disturb the sound on this podcast.
Okay, thank you for your.
We'll keep that in the episode. Now we have our Friday blooper. We got it done earlier in the week.
I don't know. You have no interest at all in teasing the Texans to plus 23. It's such an absurd number.
I have zero interest in doing anything with the spread on this game. I'll take Buffalo outright. Minus 1250. Put it on the Vegas Dave card. 500 units.
Right. to get back $6.
Speaking of Vegas Dave, he had somebody screenshotted a couple of weeks ago. Somebody screenshotted one of his I think it was the Monday night Ravens, Raiders game. I think he lost on his plays that he gave it. I think he lost 1,200 units on that game.
Oh my God.
which is
How
12
is it?
full bankrolls.
Right.
If you want to know how units work.
Yeah, keeping track at home.
Yeah.
Okay, I honestly thought you might be somewhat interested in plus 23 for the Texans. It's just such an
Why would I
absurd
tease
number.
a 17-point dog? If I'm going to root for them to come, that means I need another leg to come through too. If I think that Houston's going to make this
Titans.
anything, if I think Houston's going to make this anything close to interesting, I'll just play plus 17. I'm not going to tease them to 23 and a half.
Yeah.
But I don't think that. Oh, I don't know. I don't think anything. I'm just going to let Buffalo win the game, whether it's by 14, 20, and you hit your teaser and the line doesn't hit, or 28. Don't care.
Okay. All right. I mean, I might just do it just for fun. But that line is just that line is just so absurd to see that on the board and it's hanging at plus 17. It's just absolutely unbelievable.
I mean, they could barely score against Carolina at home.
Right.
Buffalo's defense the last 2 weeks has been
stellar.
But like maybe if you made me bet on this game, I might take the Texans team total under.
Yeah, like so the top three corners on there, Tre'Davious White, Levi Wallace, and I'm missing the last name. But heading into last week or Sunday, none of them had allowed more than a 53.5% reception rate for the first 2 weeks of the season. Like they've been that good. The corners have been that good for Buffalo. Yeah,
the Bills are good.
Yeah. All right. So what do you like? Give me something you do like. I know you like Tennessee.
I was going to say, I think the Thursday night game I just want to touch on really quick is kind of interesting. The Bengals, 7-point favorites. Who would have thought that we would see the day? Or a rematch of the 2020 national title game, the last two number one overall picks. LSU's Joe Burrow against Clemson's Trevor Lawrence. Joe Burrow won that national championship game. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to get revenge here on Thursday Night Football. Bengals, not a bad teaser piece. The Bengals are not bad. Joe Burrow is 8-3-1 against the spread as a starter. That is, percentage points wise, only 1% worse than Teddy covers himself, Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
You got anything on Thursday night?
I honestly, I hadn't really looked at it, but I was just looking it up real quick. So the Bengals against the spread have only been favored once since last year.
So I'm not saying the cover is favorites. They're doing it as dogs. But the Bengals sacked Roethlisberger 4 or 5 times on Sunday.
Yeah.
Roethlisberger looked awful.
Well, I mean, so between the injury and just that putrid offensive line that they have, like it should have been like that. But no, I agree.
So Jacksonville also has a pretty awful offensive line. They're going on the road here. They've lost and failed to cover every game this season, but big letdown on the road, getting smacked by Houston in that opener. Short week. If this gets to 6.5, I kind of don't mind the Bengals.
Yeah, no, I think that is a really solid teaser piece. I now that you're bringing it up here, I do agree with you. I think that is a nice way to kind of start the week there against Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence has only been under pressure on 32% of his dropbacks thus far, but of his 7 interceptions that he's thrown, 4 of them have come in that instance. He has just not been able to escape pressure in a way that ends up being somewhat productive for those 7 interceptions coming in that situation. So that is something definitely to keep a note of. So in that case, would you do Bengals and Titans then for a 2-teamer? Or
no. I have the teaser locked and loaded.
Oh, here we go. So see, he wins one big one, and now that's all you're going to get for the rest of the season. Go ahead.
No. There's 4 teaser legs you can potentially use this week. I'm just doing a 2-team 6 point.
Okay.
We're going back to usual. It has to be a real week that jumps out to do that. The Bengals and the Packers are good teaser pieces. The Packers 6.5 point favorites against the Steelers, who looked awful, and that's in Green Bay. The Jets are hopeless. The Jets are absolutely hopeless. Shutout in Denver. Zach Wilson stinks. He'll go against a defense that he can maybe do something against, Tennessee this week on the road. But there's no way he's going to keep up with Tennessee's offense against the Jets. Defense, no shot, even with it being in New York. Tease Tennessee down to 1.5. That one's going to come through for us. And the other leg, the game of the century, We're getting this in now while Tampa's 6.5. It was 5.5 on Monday morning. It's been bet all the way up to 6.5. The Bucs are going to be one of the most public sides of the season. Johnny Avello said he didn't know if it was going to be the biggest, if the Patriots would be the biggest need of the sportsbook for the season. But I'm expecting the handle on this game to be the biggest game of the season. Tampa's going to win the game. And I know there's some people out there, like, if it gets to 7, sharp buyback on the Patriots, Bills defense at home, both teams coming off a loss. I cannot see how the Patriots stay in this game. And I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment off the Saints loss. I thought they were going to win the Saints game, to be honest. So here's the matchup. Like, the only way the Patriots can win is if Belichick plays the defensive game plan of his life to keep the Bucs to like 17 points, because they have to get to 20, 21 against this Tampa defense. But here's the problem. Like I said last year, people ask you, when Brady leaves, who is it? Is it Belichick or Brady? So let's call it even. Greatest coach, greatest player. Then the Patriots missed the playoffs and the Bucs win the Super Bowl. I said, all right, it's Brady. Scoreboard. It's been decided. It didn't take long. Brady's more important than Belichick. I also think that motivation-wise, like, first of all, Belichick's not on the field, so he can make this game plan, but then his players have to execute. And the Patriots have an okay defense, nothing special, but a defense I think Brady can get to. Brady has this motivation. He knows how to use this motivation because he's used it throughout his career. Belichick doesn't. And Brady's on the field. So he's going to be able to, his motivation is going to have a direct impact on this game. And you know that he's going to want to throttle the Patriots. Like, there's going to be no letting up. I took this at -5.5 when it came out.
Yep.
As long as it stays under 7, I'll probably still write it up as the best bet, laying the points alongside with the teaser. Brady's going to put up points. I like the Tampa Bay team total over.
Yep.
For the Patriots, now it becomes, how do you put up points with Brady? Because I'm very confident that the Bucs are going to put up points. And you can't, because the Patriots like to grind the ball, run clock, keep it close. Well, they couldn't run against the Saints last week. Damian Harris did nothing. Brandon Bolden got like 11 touches out of nowhere. The Bucs might have the best run defense in the NFL. They're going to stuff you. You're not going to be able to go anywhere. So now it's in Mac Jones's hands to go downfield. The weakness of the Tampa defense is the secondary. Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Deshaun Jackson can expose that. I don't think Mac Jones, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, and Jacoby Myers can. And the tight ends have stunk.
Really bad.
Big money there. Hunter Henry hasn't done much. And Jonnu Smith's been arguably the biggest negative on the team. He's handing 3 points away, dropping everything. I don't know how the Patriots keep up with the Bucs, and the Bucs are going to score. So that settles that. Bucs in a teaser. Bucs -6.5. I know sharps are going to be on the Patriots because the books are going to need the Patriots. It's a little scary. I'm just too confident in it. Brady anytime TD. We talked about Brady's going to rush in once they get down to the end zone. Gronk anytime TD. He's going to feed one to Gronk. And then we have a promotion that we can bring up here as well on this game on DK Sportsbook that is pretty terrific.
Yeah, so on DraftKings Sportsbook, if you go to NFL, then you go to the weekly special section. They have Rob Gronkowski over 68.5 receiving yards. So you need 69. That wasn't on accident.
Randomly assigned number.
Yep. And over half a touchdown. So you obviously just need him to score a touchdown plus 500 on that.
I'm telling you right now, he's going to score. I know Brady's going to make sure he scores. So now you're getting the plus 500 on him getting to 69 receiving yards.
So he has 4 touchdowns for the first 3 weeks, both 2 of them in the first 2 games, 2 apiece in each of those. Didn't have one last week, but also was off the field for a little while, got a little banged up there. So he wasn't on the field, but 20 targets already through the first 3 weeks, 90 yards, 39, 55. So he's only gone over that total once. But the touchdown, like you said, feels like a given. Brady is going to make sure that Gronk is scoring against his former team. That whole connection, Brady to Gronk against the Patriots, is going to happen. So now we just need him to get over those 69 receiving yards. At least to this point, the Patriots have let up absolutely nothing to opposing tight ends. Like, it hasn't even been an issue. Between the Dolphins, Jets, and Saints, 27 total yards to opposing tight ends, but they've only seen 10 targets. And we're talking about teams that don't really use a tight end, and the Jets are in there as well. I mean, the Jets didn't get anything going. But the Dolphins are not a team that really goes to tight ends. Gesicki hasn't been too much of a factor. Saints, since Jared Cook is no longer with them, haven't been going to them too much. Adam Trotman's been someone who's been somewhat involved, but really since week one, nothing. So we really don't know how the Patriots are against opposing tight ends, I guess we can say so far this season. But when Brady is going to force feed the ball to Gronkowski in this game, which he really has already, and 20 targets in the first 3 weeks is impressive for an aging tight end.
So I'm also going to bet Gronk first touchdown. I bet it to come early.
Wow, okay. Yeah.
And I'm going to bet Antonio Brown anytime touchdown score because Brady would do that.
Oh, man, I didn't even consider that. That's right.
I'm going to have so many bets on this.
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, the bankroll is for the Sunday night game. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so I would absolutely be taking a look at that one there. Rob Gronkowski needs 69 yards and a touchdown, get you plus 500. That is a really nice special that you get. Really, just look at some of these specials that they have. I even like tonight for Monday Night Football. Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts each with a rushing touchdown plus 500. That's not a bad one either. So definitely go to the NFL section. There's a billion different tabs you can go to. Look for the weekly specials.
All right. So the Tennessee Tampa teaser is going to be my best bet. I know it's going to be my best bet on Thursday. So I'm giving it out now before it moves. Take the 7.5, take the 6.5. Tampa straight up. You're laying 1.5 with Tennessee. I'll give that out today. That's not going anywhere. Some other stuff that jumps that I wasn't going to touch a single spread in week 3. Some spreads jump out to me. And we talked about Green Bay and Cincy potentially being teaser legs. The Ravens, who would have thought the Ravens would be underdogs against the Broncos? And I know the Ravens are coming off some highs. They beat Kansas City. They snuck past Detroit, obviously. But Denver is 3-0 without playing anybody. Giants, Jets, Jags. That's the weakest schedule you can play in the NFL, arguably. Time for some real competition. The look-ahead line here was obviously Ravens favored before the season. They're considered the much better team. Give me the 1.5 with Baltimore here. Another decent teaser leg because especially only at that 1.5 because you can get them up to 7.5.
All right, so taking a look here. Here's something interesting. Going back to that Bucs games too. If you tease the Bucs, the Rams, and the Chiefs, basically just need them all to win. In that teaser, get plus 160 on that one.
I just had a 5-leg teaser come through. I'm not going to get greedy. I'm going back to I'm a 2-leg guy. And there will be a couple weeks throughout the season where I think we can go big like we did in week 3, and we cashed in week 3. So I'm going to leave it at that. But
to your mentality, though, you're getting a slightly better number than if you parlay them all together to win.
Oh yeah, the value's there. I mean, why not just do the plus 400 again on Cincy?
No.
KC, Cincy, KC. Cincy, KC, Packers, Bucks. Oh, that's only 4. Okay. Well, don't do it. Just do the 2 that I gave you. However, some lines jump out to me. I like Kansas City. Kansas City was 5.5. I like Kansas City -6. They are 1-11 against the spread their last 12 regular season games. They're going to bounce back at some point. Eagles, short week, rookie head coach coming off the Monday night game. Chiefs have lost 2 in a row. They desperately need a bounce back. I think this is the game that the Chiefs win and cover on the road. So that -6 there. I like the 1.5 with Baltimore. And this one's kind of gross. Like I wish the Panthers were playing somebody else because it's time to fade the 3-0 Panthers. They've gotten there in some really good spots against some bad teams. Impressive one over the Saints. I guess. But now you lose Christian McCaffrey.
Yep.
You lose J.C. Horn, two of your most important players on both sides of the ball. And I know they're making a trade with the Jags to get a corner in, but that's going to take a little bit of time. And Henderson's obviously a little bit of a problem, a top 10 pick being traded a year after he's drafted. I wish they were playing anybody but the Cowboys, because the Cowboys have been the luckiest team in the NFL so far, but I kind of like Cowboys -4 in that game more as a Panthers fade.
Yep.
So those are all the early spots I'm looking at. A lot, honestly.
I just worry about
how many props I'm going to have on Sunday Night Football.
I just worry about the Panthers pass rush, which has been legit. They've been so good.
Yeah, but it slowed down.
Quarterback.
It slowed down against Tennessee.
But I do agree that, the Panthers being underdogs in this one here, but obviously the loss of McCaffrey cannot be overstated enough. And once upon a time they had somebody who could step into that role into it well, and Mike Davis. They don't have that anymore. That's the biggest thing. Mike Davis did that job. That took over and did that well. Yeah. No, I'm all set with that.
I did not like how I did college football. Guy was a beast at Oklahoma State.
That's fine, but he wasn't a beast on Sunday. And it did not look like he could catch Thursday. It did not look like he could catch at all. He was not very good with his hands there. I think you're going to agree with that.
No, he's not good at catching. He's not good at catching the ball.
Okay, that's what I said.
He's a pure runner.
Yeah, pure runner. Okay, all right. So that's. Are we good? Are we gonna? And then we'll do our deep.
Yeah, no, that's. I feel like I covered a lot. I don't even know if you gave out a bet.
You're right. I didn't. So I'm going to go. All right. So my early lean is I'm going to be teasing as I always do. I am going to do Titans, because you're definitely right on that. It's just a full fade on the Titans. So I'm going to do, it's going to be a 2-legger because I'm not greedy. I'm going to do Titans, and then I'm going to do, I'm going to do Titans Packers. I'm going to tease that one. I like that one there. So you get the Titans down to -1.5.
We've combined to use the 4 popular, oh no, we're both on Titans. Okay, yeah, we're using the biggest teaser legs of the week.
Yeah, I think.
I think so. That basically means that you think the Patriots could win this game by not using the Patriots. You think the Patriots have a better chance to win than the Steelers?
I just need to digest that more.
Okay.
I'm not saying that I can't. That the Bucs aren't going to win, but I just need to take that in more. That's going to be. People are going to overthink this game so much. So much.
That's why
I'm probably going to be guilty. Yeah.
The Patriots are going to be the sharp side. It's going to be the books need.
Yeah.
But I'm going against it anyway because I think it's the right side. And then I'm going to pile on with the pro Bucks props.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. But we'll talk about this more on Thursday when we should have another guest on the show to talk about the entire. Are we confirmed this time?
Yeah, but we'll keep it. You never know what could happen. We'll keep it under wraps, and then we'll reveal it on Thursday. There
will be a third person sitting with us on Thursday, and if there's not, then we'll just pretend, and we'll ask questions and everything. There we go. Okay, good. All right, so that's going to do it for this edition of the Unreasonable Odds podcast. I want to thank Johnny Avello for coming on, as always, as he does every Monday. Make sure to follow us on Twitter on at Unreasonable Odd, no S, Unreasonable Odd. You can also follow us individually at Julian Edlow, at Buchanan 24. The stupid photographer would just get off Twitter. I could have my own name. At Unreasonable Odd, though, that's the most important one. So make sure to follow us there. Until then, we will see you and talk to you all on Thursday.